Hello, and welcome back to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am Justin. Mills is off this week. Shout out to Mills, though. He'll be back next week. But we got a special guest this week. We got my man's Aplus. He's another King of Pro Wrestling Podcast. He's the king of the wand every single week. We get a report. He gives us the wand, man. This is Meltzer Said What Part 2.
That's right. Meltzer Said What, the remix.
Yeah.
And speaking of Meltzer Said What, I saw him mention like a dance hall, like air horn. I'm like, whoa, okay. Meltzer Said What tapped in for real? Okay.
I've had many conversations with Meltzer Said What. Really cool guy. I feel blessed, honored, and lucky to even be considered worthy of speaking to someone that is of such prominence on the internet. Because there's been a lot of beef on the internet, especially within wrestling this week.
Yeah, like I saw one Julian Weeks going back and forth with who was he going back and forth?
We don't say their names, but
Got it. Oops, sorry.
I saw that. Shout out Julian Weeks. I don't know if he listens, but I gotta just stop this. I gotta stop this. Stop the violence.
Please.
Stop the violence. It's not worth it. What are y'all arguing over? Swerve Strickland? Come on.
Real quick, I know this is like an aside, but we talked about it last week on the A Show. When Swerve put out that tweet, like unsanctioned, don't you guys know what that means? It rang to me like a comedian explaining a joke. When you have to explain the joke, guess what? That means it didn't land. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I wanted to say that. That's all I had.
Let's just get over this, man. Let's just get over all of this, bro. But how are you doing, Plus? What's going on in your world?
You know what, man? It's my birthday month. I'm joining you now as a 37-year-old black man in the world, and
Yeah,
you know what I mean. There's a lot that comes with that in 2024. So
gray's getting grayer. The gray is getting grayer.
The grays are coming in strand by strand, day by day. So you know what I'm saying, they exist and they're pretty prominent. So
that shit sucks, man. Listen, when you wake up now and your back hurts, like fuck.
Talk about it. Yo, I've been doing this training that's really been helping me out. I've been losing weight. I learned my biological age and I wanted to cry. I was like,
no.
Oh. But you could fix that. You can lower it with cardio and strength training. I'm like, oh, well, we're going to do that then. Because,
what is your biological age?
It was 49.
No way, Plus.
I shit you not.
What is this based off of?
It's like cells. It's a lot of it goes into it. And I want to say, because I have Crohn's, maybe that affects it. Maybe that raises it up. But yeah, when they told me I had like the fitness of damn near a 50-year-old, I was like, okay, time for me to do something about it. Time for me to do something about this. So,
oh man,
yeah, it's sobering, but I'm on the path to lowering that. So,
okay. I don't want you to be on the, you know what I'm saying, on them old, the commercials that used to play on Fox on SmackDown about they got the Wegovy.
That's right. And they rattle off like 18 things that could cripple you by taking Wegovy. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. No, seriously though, like it's serious, man, especially as black men. All of the black men that listen to this show, make sure you go get checked. Make sure you go get all the tests that you need, all of that. I'm supposed to get, they told me, because I was like, one time I went to the doctor, I was like, all right, man, I know y'all got to do the colon test, bro. Is it today? They was like, nah, you good, bro. Wait till you 40. I'm like, bro.
Hey, man, like I said just now, I have Crohn's, so that's happened to me more times than I like to admit. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, obviously they put you under so you don't know, but still, it's like I'm going in for a check very regularly. This is like maybe sometimes twice annually, but definitely annually once at least. So please, I implore everybody, whether you have a condition or not, if you're at this age, make sure you take that chance to go out or take that time to go ahead and get checked out. It's
important. Sure. And we talked a lot about butt health.
That's right. Hashtag butt health. Yes.
So moving from butt health, speaking of butt health.
What a segue.
Diddy got arrested this morning. All right, listen, the segue is funny, not the allegations, okay?
No, seriously, right.
Diddy was arrested this morning and he was charged with, what was it, sex trafficking, racketeering, just a wide range of it. And this is a big deal. This is a huge deal, especially within the world of entertainment, not just music. Diddy kind of transcended all of that. these allegations first cracked open. Well, they've been around for a while. Let's just be clear here, but they really got serious last November with the Cassie stuff. All of this stuff happens. He's been on the. Is he technically been on the run, or he just been kind of just like waiting it out?
I say
What do you say?
waiting it out / laying low, and now I'm going to TMZ, and I missed the press conference, and the U.S. attorney wants no bail, claims he's a flight risk, and also a danger to society.
Yeesh. Yeah,
That's
because Diddy had a proposed bail package of $50 million bond. Uh,
that is insane.
and this is co-signed. This is equity in one of his houses in Miami. This travel will be restricted to the Southern District of Florida and the Southern District of New York, where I guess he would be able to meet with his counsel there. His
That's
passport,
no valley.
yeah, passport surrender, and the passport of all of his family members would be given up. However, as you said, you were correct. There's no bail. Uh, I mean, that's serious. This is what R. Kelly got.
Yes, and I've spoken to quite a few, I mean, for lack of better phrase here, old heads today in the past couple of days about this, and it's very sobering for them. I mean, for us especially, because we grew up on those two people, but for them, it's like they've grown with those two people.
Right.
So they've been the real soundtrack to their lives from 18, 17 on, and
Well,
it's
fuck all
very,
that. That's
yeah.
my thing
Thank,
is
thank you. I was getting to that nicely, but thank you for fast forwarding to it. Fuck all that. That's kind of where I'm at with it. You
yeah,
did it. You're a piece of shit. That's
yeah.
what it is.
Ain't no oh man, but the times that we had, I'm like, these are the times that he chose for you to see.
Thank
You know what
you.
I'm saying? Like these are not the times you had. These are some pretty heinous charges. And a lot of people are gonna make jokes about the 1,000 bottles of lube and baby oil and stuff like that. But I mean, more disturbing than that is the guns.
With
Uh,
no cereal, like why are they scratched off? Why is he living like a freaky Tony Montana?
why is he living like this? Period. He's a billionaire.
Like I'm kind of dumbfounded by it. Not, of course, the surplus of baby oil, but like the AR-15s with the scratch cereals. Like, bro, why are you living like a street nigga?
Who is coming to get him? By the way, like who's coming to get him?
I'm completely dumbfounded. I don't know.
Like I'm lost. I'm completely confused by like all of it. But I think more than anything, I'm very shocked at how much they found. They said they have video proof. They have evidence of these things happening. They like the people that they could call. And the thing is, remind you that what was it, Lil Rod or one of the people that
It was, yeah, yeah.
he got $100 million judgment because they didn't show up. That should have let us know that he was about to turn himself into.
Exactly, and I believe, yes, his lawyer did state that he was in New York, upon, thinking that, of course, he would have to turn himself in very shortly, but I think they surprised him by going the night before instead of this morning. So, I think he was prepared, immediately prepared for that. But, the no bail is telling, man. It's telling, very telling that they wanna hold him, and, they don't, because they consider him a flight risk.
I mean, the AR-15s.
That's what I'm saying. Like we're like you said, we're pointing and laughing at the baby oil and the amount of that he has, but the AR-15s with the scratch serials is very alarming and telling to me. You
Yeah,
know,
with the AR with the monkey nuts, as he says.
it's all very much like and one of the people of course, who shall remain nameless is like, when you're rich, you just you can't justify this just for the sake of being rich
You're
and not
rich.
having nothing to do. I don't want to hear that shit, man. I really don't. There's no excuse. You don't have to become a fucking deviant because you have an endless amount of money. That's just not that doesn't correlate. Sorry.
Yeah, when you're rich, yo,
Yo, listen to that. Like, listen to that for a second. When you're rich,
you
tell me about it, please.
you gotta have freak offs. I'm just kind of bothered by the what could come out and what we're gonna see. You know what I'm saying? Like like this case is gonna come with a huge trigger warning if they decide to even broadcast it. But
Right.
um, it's I don't know, man. This sounds bad, but all of our heroes from back in the day, they ain't shit, bro. What if they find out that he was behind? You know what? Never mind. Never
Okay. I, I'm with you on that though. And I'm gonna say this much. I gotta put a pin in it, but It's more like, man, they were not ready for technology, man. They
No,
were not ready for social media. They were not ready for smartphones. They were
no.
not they're not I mean, obviously Shannon Sharp proved that, but they were just not ready for, like, things to, like, be able to possibly expose what they do in the dark.
Mm-mm.
That
Mm-mm.
are nefarious, because once again, do what you wanna do as long as it's legal behind closed doors, but the nefarious acts, they weren't prepared for that to be discovered.
Well, Diddy, we'll see what's going in. We'll see what's going on in the next couple of weeks. Uh, let's get into some more news here. Daniel Garcia. Daniel Garcia. We
Happy
talked about
birthday.
no. Happy birthday, Daniel Garcia. Uh, that is the only news that we have on him today. But allegedly, according to a Twitter account, backup Hangman, AEW has started removing him from promotional items in the near future. Could this be smoke to fire? Is this more proof? I mean, the last that we saw of Daniel Garcia, he lost his match against MJF. Powell drove him, which I thought was odd because I'm like, that doesn't really give you any heat back, especially if you haven't resigned, right? Like you still lost. So there's no reason to get your heat back because MJF still won. But the last that we saw from AEW, he walked out of the arena and we haven't seen him since. Um, what is your take on the possibility of him going to the performance center?
One, I agree with you. That was a very weird way to write somebody off. If that was the case, like you said, the attempt to like get his heat back at the end after taking the pin, it almost like felt like an olive branch that Tony was extending. Why? I can't answer that. Only one Tony Khan could. But it was very weird to me how that all unfolded post match. To me, it would make sense for him to explore the possibility of going to the PC because, um, what has he done for the past few 3 years or so in AEW besides be for the most part be like a Jericho lackey and be this I don't know this symbol of the fight between sports entertainment and pro wrestler, which is asinine to begin with.
Yeah.
But they kind of try to throw him this thing at the end of his contract, like at the end of your contract, we're gonna put you in a program with MJF. How does that sound to you, buddy? That's
I,
very
I
weird to me.
I think there was just a loss of like not just promotion behind him, but really development behind him. If that's like not what it was, then like remember January 3rd, Tony Khan says we're going to see a lot more Daniel Garcia in 2024.
He did say that. That's right. He did
That
say
did
that.
not happen
Not. No, it did not.
whatsoever. I mean, he was stuck on Collision for a while. He was stuck on Rampage. He was stuck on tertiary shows to the company, and now, uh, you know, it's a possibility that he could go. I honestly think that if I'm his age, I'm seeing that I don't know. I'm not cutting great promos. I'm seeing that I'm not really developing into a character. I'm seeing all of these things because the thing is, your ceiling is for him to just become another edgy wrestler, because and an edgy baby face at that, right?
And don't they
Because
have enough?
yeah, exactly, exactly. Like that. Like if I see that's my ceiling, then I think that I want to try my luck in WWE or elsewhere. He could still go to TNA if that's what he wants to do. But nothing wrong with turning down a bag, but I think that the bag thing is just so. Well, do you pick bag or development? You know what I'm saying? Especially that young, you're gonna get the bag anyway. You know what I mean? Especially if you're gonna be around for a while. Like I say, get the bag when you like AJ Styles age, and they ready to do that. And Dan Garcia could realistically still go back to AEW after this 3-4 year deal that potentially he could sign is up. So they're taking him off of all promotional deals or promotional items. We'll see. But the biggest news, A plus, this week, some details of the AEW Warner Brothers Discovery media rights deal have been revealed, and they came out late last night. Puck News,
Yeah.
which has been really on top of all of this, mind you.
Actual journalism. So John Orand, who worked at Sports Business Journal for many years, very respected in the world of sports media, now works for Puck. And and honestly, brother, I subscribe to Puck because of John Orand's detailed description of the whole saga between Warner Brothers Discovery and the NBA with the whole media rights deals. So yes, I have the varsity pulled up in front of me right now with the news that broke. But go right ahead.
So you actually have the actual the
Oh,
content of
yeah,
the.
I subscribe to it just because of the media rights deal was that was a very interesting saga to me, and I wanted like the full details from the source. So I signed up for Puck. But yes, I had the newsletter in front of me where he details what could possibly be on the horizon that many wrestling journalists have been hitting at, but really have been delivering flat out double nothing burgers with cheese over the last few months. About
100. I
yeah,
love that. I love that name. I love how you said that. That's great, my brother. I love it. So the specifics here, and mind you, from what I hear, and you could confirm this here because you've seen it, they kind of slid the AEW part just as a sentence or a couple sentences in this whole deal, but it essentially spells doom and gloom for WBD. Am I wrong here?
yeah, so he speaks on how Zaslav is now putting some of that 1.5 billion that he saved on the NBA to use. They talk about the French Open deal. They did a deal with the Savannah Bananas traveling baseball team, the college football playoff that they sub-licensed from ESPN, Mountain West football, which is, how can I explain it? Mountain West football may be like, I guess, it's a little bit up under what the previous incarnation of ROH was in the world of college football.
Sheesh.
Like it's not a prime college football conference in the least bit. And Big East basketball, right? So that's some of the things that Zaz has been spending his money on that they were allocating for the NBA. Now we're getting to AEW,
Yes,
and now Oran is reporting that a formal announcement could come as soon as next week, barring any last minute changes or challenges, rather. And
yes. So
yeah,
and he says it looks like it'll be a 4-year deal,
yep,
3 years guarantee with the 1 year option.
yep,
He's been pretty right on the money, right down to the fact that this is potentially the deal that Tony Khan scoffed at a couple of months ago, but it looks like he kind of had to take, and it looks like $170 million per year is apparently in the ballpark. And this would be AEW airing on TNT, TBS, and True TV twice per week as part of a strategy to make True TV more sports oriented. So we would be looking at potentially Dynamite being there, the specials, Battle of the Belts, of course, being on TNT as they usually have been, and True TV would get what I guess Rampage or something else AEW branded.
I would
Um,
imagine, yeah,
He's pitched, and they also say that AEW is pitching an additional package to broadcast networks that would potentially be the FS1 show that has been rumored. Shockwave, I believe it's called. And he says it marks a clear success for AEW. However, there's been no mention of any HBO Max or Max content streaming. Uh, and it looks like, I mean, for their current deal to be $70 million annually, they're more than doubling that. Okay, so they're going up to 170, right?
yep.
But that's with everything in the package, right?
Yes. And like you said, there hasn't been any mention of his pay-per-view business. And I'm starting to see, I haven't watched any other reports yet, but I'm starting to see rumblings that some wrestling journalists out there are trying to say, because there was a number that they were just ballparking to say, hey, if he gets this 200 million a year, then they're going to be profitable. Like, you can't say nothing bad because that means they are profitable now. So with it being, rumored or reported to be around 170, are we saying that that additional 30 will come from PPV revenue per year? Is that what they're trying to say? I mean, I'm not the greatest at this department here, but I don't know, would they make up that 30 in PPV alone
Yeah,
or live events?
how do they make that up? I mean, I know they do more
Yeah,
than usual. However, I don't know, and also we don't know if WB increases their equity in the company because it's been rumored, but I think it's pretty much clear here with the deal they gave them, like they own somewhat in there. But like WWE's TV deals come out to be around 800 million or so, almost 900 a year.
that's right.
This is like maybe a fourth of that,
Yeah,
or if
if that.
smaller.
You're right.
So I'm like, is like it's a nominal increase. Like it's like not a straightforward 1-to-1 comparison here, of course, but it's also not a straightforward 1-to-1 comparison of the actual deal they have right now because costs will go up. They'll have to do more with this money. It's not just, hey, we got more money. I think people looking at it as like, oh, 170 is great. I'm like, yeah, but like they got to pay Kenny Omega again in 2 years.
Come on.
They got to pay the Bucks again. They got to pay Hangman again. They got to pay. They're paying out a lot of money. That's why you're seeing a lot of people leave. Um, I, I'm bullish on saying if this is like obviously yes, it's great they got an extension. We knew they were gonna get renewed. We knew that.
Sure.
Like we knew that. However, what does this mean? Like with ratings being what they are, the 3-year deal with a 1-year option is very interesting to me. Don't would you not say?
Oh yeah, I would say definitely not. Guaranteeing all four is. I don't know who that favors more. I would say the network more than the company, But you're right. It's more like there's like a celebration. It's like, ha! See, I told you somebody was willing to pay for it. Well, we knew that. We knew somebody was going to pay for it. We didn't even know that WBD were going to be the ones to mainly pay for it. That wasn't the shock here. It's more about the number placed on it. I mean, and it coming under 200 million, since that was the bar set, is telling, because again, there wasn't, and we're talking directly about the product. This isn't about bias.
Yeah.
There wasn't that much to drive up the price of this package in the last year. Whereas if you just want to compare, since they're both professional wrestling companies, WWE in 22 and 23 just kept skyrocketing as far as live gates, ratings, everything to make that package that they knew was coming up way more attractive than it was.
Yeah.
It's just business 101. It's not about being biased or picking on who's who. It's just simple math. And for, the show that, I think what this time last year was averaging roughly around, what would that be, 800, 850K on
Yeah.
the flagship show, to now be hovering up a little bit up under 700. I mean, come on. That's just, the proof is in the pudding. It's not even about, once again, being biased about looking at black and white numbers on on the sheet. Just being honest.
Yeah, and without any knowledge of what that deal could become, I think we're looking at a 3-hour show, whether that be Dynamite or Collision. I think that's not a far-fetched thing to think about. Would you say?
I wouldn't say it's far fetched, and it would be very. I would be very interested to see how the fan base receives that, because I think that was something that they detest. You know what I mean? And so for maybe a show to be lost, or maybe a combination of, say, Rampage and Collision, to a 3-hour show, I would just love to see how that goes, because yeah, it's tough. It doesn't matter what company you are. It is tough to do 3 hours of a weekly show alone. Let's not even include, another 2-hour show, but just one show weekly, 3 hours. Man, that's a long haul. It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, and I mean, not to mention for Cyrus's mental health, shout out Cyrus, but for the mental health of a lot of people, I think again, we look at this deal and it's been hyped up for a very long time, and we see what's happening within the company right now. I think talent wise, AEW has a large roster. That's without question one of the best in
Yeah.
the world.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
But there are several pieces that are missing right now that should be front and center, and they're not there. MJF's taking time off. Kenny Omega, Lord knows when he comes back.
Right.
Dan Garcia could potentially be leaving. Ricky Starks potentially be leaving. Lucha Brothers is all but done. They're gone. They haven't even been seen on TV in months. There was also a report that the Motor City Machine Guns have signed with WWE,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get to that in a second. But this is a different roster 5 years in than it was 5 years before. It's leaner, and I look at it right now. I'm saying it right now. Other than like Mox, they don't really have any stars.
Yeah. And once again, I mean, with Swerve taking time off, MJF taking time off, they're putting a whole lot on Willie Ospreay's shoulders, man. They're putting an entire, like you said, and Mox too. Now Mox is back in the fold, and we know Danielson is probably by the end of October not going to be featured on TV regularly anymore. So it becomes the Ospreay and Mox show at that point, or maybe this is an opportunity for somebody to emerge that can carry the Rock. And as of right now, I don't see that, but maybe that remains to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right. Osprey is another one of them, but I feel like even his stock just could fall. I mean, you
Sure.
see what he's doing right now. You see what's happening. Like I think one of the things that they need to improve if they get this deal, and especially if they want to pick up that option year or they want WB to pick up that option year, is to start establishing these guys, because you're seeing some of your youth go away. You're seeing some of your youth, disappear out of there. I don't think some of the signings they've had have been the answer. I think Monet has not been the answer, other than like having that as kind of a bargaining chip. I think the Bucks have not been an answer.
No.
Um, I don't know. I think that like it is my first impression that this is a good idea for them to stay with WB, but I don't know if this is like the best deal that people expected, and I don't want I don't want people to like hype themselves up that, like, because I think all they're saying is like more money. I mean, there's really more than that, because they don't have the deals and the partnerships that bigger companies have, right?
Right.
And they have to pay they have to pay a lot of shit out. They have 2 stadium shows they want to do, 3 in a year
Yeah.
next year,
Yeah.
and you got to pay for that somehow. and I wonder what that's gonna look like in a couple of months. Shit, in 2 years when that comes up. So that is allegedly the deal. We'll see if that comes to life next probably next week, huh? It'll have to be next week.
Yeah, and I know we're talking business right now, but of course, the business of the company also has to do in part with how the booking of the company is. And I think once again, for this to be about TV, we're talking about the TV deals. Often Tony, scripts these shows sometimes as like a means just to get to the PPV, where of course the core fans are going to feel like they delivered because of the quality of the matches that they put on at the pay per view. But if you don't care about anything that happens until you get to that pay per view, then that makes your TV pretty much useless. Like, I mean, do I have to tune in? We already know what the match is going to be at the pay per view. I mean, I'll just wait till pay per view.
Yeah.
And as we're going to talk about with Raw, which to me on paper looked very lackluster, those promos and those segments made you care about everything else that was happening, just a
Yeah.
whole lot more. And it shows once again, it matters. It matters. It matters more when you care about what's going on.
Yeah, it's sink or swim. It truly is sink or swim for AEW at this point. But Motor City Machine Guns, I mentioned it a couple of minutes ago. PW Insider reports that it's all but a done deal that they are coming to the WWE. This is a big deal. I think a lot of people are upset. They're looking at these guys like, oh, they're 40. Like, uh-huh.
Oh man, that's crazy. It's so funny.
Yes, indeed, they are. But
Yes.
if you look at this signing in a lot of ways, and I look at this in a lot of ways, NXT is kind of built on obviously the future. I mean, we know this already. But
Mhm.
I think another thing is you're building this off the promise that these guys will be able to help the roster in more ways than you could ever fucking imagine. These are extremely smart, wily veterans who are going to teach a lot of these people who are coming up how to get character, how to, I mean, these guys they have a career that has spanned over 20 years. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to be the player coaches. I look at this and I'm like, if they don't make it to the main roster, I'm not going to be upset. You know what I mean? Like that's not something that would really upset me. I'm pretty sure it's going to upset somebody out there. But like, think about it. Plus, do we expect them to have a deep main roster run at
I don't
that
think
age?
so. I don't think so. And I mean, you could point to so many people now that work for WWE that had, tons of experience. And I mean, not just, they worked somewhere. No, they were very high on the card elsewhere and they worked all over the world and they are contributing the most backstage. I mean, look at Nick Aldis, look at Adam Pierce, look at Robert Roode, look at who else am I forgetting here? I don't want to say Ken Doan. I had somebody else I was thinking of that really
Davari,
who I'm sorry?
Davari, I think is back there too.
Oh, yeah, Abyss. Many people that have worked elsewhere that were high on the card and were featured players and know this business inside and out that did not come from WWE. And you're telling me they aren't contributing? They're contributing the most backstage. And I believe that Saban and Shelley will be right along those ranks as they get along.
But also twofold here, tag team wrestling.
Hello.
It's been a huge weakness for the
Mhm.
WWE. They are going to be getting, and I'm not even gonna say potentially here. They're going to be getting Motor City Machine Guns. They're going to be getting Lucha Bros. That is a huge commitment to tag team wrestling at that point. You have to, you have to bring in pieces that make this type of shit make sense. I think those are two good pieces. Now, the Lucha Brothers I can see on the main roster. I will say that they are. There is a uh
Attraction. They're an attraction.
yeah, they're an attraction, but there is a clear um focus, I would say, towards Latino American stars. And
Yeah.
we've seen that with Vacker. We've seen that with Andrade's continued push. Shit, we'll see. We'll talk about that on SmackDown later. We see that with like the renewed pushes of a lot of people. You had the LWO out there last night on Raw. What the hell they been doing?
Right? Can't wait to get to that, man. That's
Like why?
great.
Like why are you here? Like
Right.
fuck y'all been doing? But like you see a lot of that, and I think that you have some built-in feuds that you could start with them there. But I think that's a good signing. I think of all the signings that they could potentially be doing, I love the Motor City Machine Guns one, and the Julian one has been bearing fruit. She had the highest quarter hour on NXT last week.
Oh yeah, and it's so funny, not once again, not to make this an adversarial thing, but it's so funny that it felt like her stock was being kind of downplayed after it was kind of obvious where she was going and what she was capable of, and again, she made a decision. She wanted to go where she wanted to go, and it's bearing fruit already. So that's great to see.
What has been your thoughts of Julia thus far? With what you saw last week on NXT?
Um, At last we've checked, the women are safe. I haven't heard any, damaging injuries. You know? I liked it, man. I think she's bearing fruit early on, and it's so early, and I like the presentation of Julia. There's a once again, there's a 180 to that presentation where I saw Mariah May, recently with, another wrestler, and I was just like, "Wow, if they did that to Julia, people would raise hell."
No, they
And
wouldn't.
but
They
they would
wouldn't.
not, you know?
They wouldn't. They would be cool with it. They'd be like, she's gonna relive some storyline from 5 years ago or some shit. Like,
Right, it's always about copying homework over there, but no, it's back to Julia. I like what I see so far, in ring and overall presentation.
yeah, the presentation is second to none.
Yeah,
I think that they get it and they're treating her as a big deal. Now, my thought to kind of get controversial here, I don't think she takes that title off of Roxanne.
I don't think so either. I 'Cause everybody, like you said, it thinks it's a given. And, usually when that is, assumed, you might go another way. And, again, people go say, "Well, they're just burying her already." No, there's actually time on the clock. She just got here. You might wanna develop something, there's things that happen, and there's same things that happened last night. It was a finish I didn't see coming that, the star that's in question that lost, she's gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think the same is gonna be with Julia. She'll be alright. She'll rebound.
Yeah, I think again you have to build it because there's a lot more women that are coming to the company right now, and you gotta let some shit breathe. And I think that's really the most important part is that they're letting shit breathe. Um, and again, I mean, as a whole, NXT is looking kind of crazy going into the CW right now. I mean, CM Punk will be on the show tonight, announcing if I am to think, he would probably be announcing either he will be involved in the main event in some way, shape, or form, maybe special guest referee or enforcer, or he'll be doing something about Roxanne's match. I'm not. I those are my two thoughts about what he's going to announce on NXT this week.
Like, you would agree that Roxanne has become one of Phil's kids, right?
Yes, I think that's why I was like, it's I'm 60-40, 60 having to do with something with Rox, 40 having to do something with the main event because he does like Trick too. Trick is his
Yes,
man too.
that's true. That's true. And yeah, I'm with you on that. It's either one of the two, because he once again, he's another guy that's going to be of real value and an asset backstage. He's already lining that up as we speak.
Yeah.
It's working for him already. Sean is inviting him in on screen and off, and I can't wait to see what manifests tonight out of that.
So again, NXT, the build to CW. I'm interested in seeing what the production changes are. We're going to talk about the production changes on SmackDown. Um, actually, speaking of SmackDown, what was your take on this Megan Thee Stallion? Why are small things blown up so crazy for things like so? It was reported that and mind you, who this reported by? It was reported by PW Insider that there was talks of Megan Thee Stallion teaming up with Mercedes in AEW, right? So that was the idea until the theme of SmackDown Never Play was announced. And here's my thing. A deal could have been in place. A deal could have fallen apart. I just don't like and I know you saw the report, the deal that it was framed in a way where it could only be that there was some chicanery involved that made her say no instead of just like, listen, people talk and talk about deals all the time. Sometimes they don't happen, sometimes they do. It doesn't really have anything to do with a sync deal. That's two separate things.
Two separate things. I hate that. That was a report that kind of made this once again feel like the fight for Megan Thee Stallion and WWE won out. Like it's like she's a wrestler too or something. Like, come on, y'all. I made a joke in the Discord like, oh man, why I had to be Megan? But seriously though, I am happy like that they went for hip hop. Like that's where if we've noticed whether it's stock music that they've used as hip hop influence, that has become the norm, especially in the Triple H era. People would have thought that him being a Motorhead fan, he would have went another way.
Yeah.
But he really pays attention to what the locker room or what the genre of the day is. And that has been our culture. So to have him actually embrace an actual song from Megan Thee Stallion as a theme song for SmackDown, one of the two flagship shows of the company, that speaks volumes. Like I don't want to, like you said, I don't want to make this into a WWE versus AEW thing. Like you said, some deals, some things happen, some things fall through. Are people out there? Of course, Jade is in a different company now, but are people still worrying about, man, what happened to Bow Wow in AEW? People are not talking about that. People move on. So it's just like when something happens, you almost have to dig in the crates. Like, wait a minute, wasn't there some Megan Thee Stallion 80. There, that Mercedes. Like, come on, stop it, y'all. It was not even a story.
Yeah, and again, the framing of it to me, like I don't doubt that there was something being talked about. I don't doubt that there was phone calls, but
Sure.
deals fall through. Somebody could have not answered the phone. Like we don't know that part of it. Like everything is always like this sinister. Like
Yes.
we didn't want her. I'm like she didn't show up on the show. Like Megan literally did not show up on the show at all. She just has her song there. Like a sync deal takes weeks and weeks and weeks of dealing with. You know, it probably was two different other songs, and they said, you know what, pick this song because it was like a new single that she has. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Like that's literally how it could have gone.
Absolutely.
And I don't know. I don't like the way that things are framed sometimes to be adversarial and to make people pissed off. Even if PW Insider didn't mean it that way, it looks like that. You know what I'm saying? We're just like, oh, she was talking to them, but then her song showed up, so it's probably not going to happen. It can still happen. You think WWE gives a shit if she shows up?
At all. Because like I said, I hate the framing of they outbid us again. It's like, no, that's not it. It's just
They have money. They
yeah.
have money. They have money too. They have money too. Like that's the shit that gets me is like y'all are not underdogs. You could have got her. Just give her a bag.
Yeah, I can't stand it. Is it Uchi Wally Wally or is it one Mike thing they do with Tony? Like, is he a plucky underdog or does he have more money than God? Like, pick one. Pick one. Like, you have to pick one at some point.
Can he do this forever, or is it, or he
Right.
do this for
Or
a
is
couple
it, oh, we need investors. You know what I mean? Like, which one is it?
Is it 170 million or is it 250?
Which one is it? Please.
Which one is it? More news. It was just announced literally as we were on this recording the show on Pat McAfee's show. Sheamus has re-signed with WWE. I can imagine this is probably like the swan song deal.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, are people saying that it's going to run along the same year as Cena's farewell tour? Is that the thing?
He better not.
Right.
Yeah, you better chill out. The hell wrong with you?
Yeah, I don't think anything should get in the way of that. I mean, let's be honest. It shouldn't.
Like Cena's gonna do his own thing. I think Sheamus probably signs for a 4 or 5 year deal, probably less time. I mean, we already see he's jobbing for people finally, so I'm like, perfect.
There we go. We got him in line. Right.
Perfect. Thank you. Shit. Like
I'm sure Pete Dunne is like, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like, Pete Dunne's like, finally. See, this is the shit I was talking about, dog. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Being butch and shit. Like, I ain't want to do that.
exactly. He don't want to. You know what I'm saying? It's time for him to deal with what it is, man. Like just deal with the fact that you're getting old. Deal with the fact that we could just have you on these shows and all of that. Like just deal with it, bro. You gotta chill. You gotta
Play your
chill.
part. Just play your part. You know, whether the IC title reign that escaped you sticks in your craw or not, play your part, bro. You've had more than a great career, in WWE. So,
So
yeah.
what I'm gonna do real quick is pull up a couple of things because me and Mills are we're do I want to do like this weekly kind of celebration of the Hell in a Cell. Its anniversary is coming up, the 25 year, I believe. Isn't it? Yeah, it's
Well,
coming
actually,
up.
it's 26 now? Or wait a minute, because it was October 97 was the first. So 27. Holy shit.
Yeah, so the anniversary of the first one
Yeah,
is
yeah.
coming up.
Yeah.
And I want to celebrate the Hell in a Cell. WWE has actually done something very smart, and I thought they would actually take the stream down, but they've been running every single Hell in a Cell match in perpetuity. I'm pretty sure until October on their YouTube channel. So all I did all weekend was watch Hell in a Cell matches. Um,
Yeah.
and what I want to know, uh, what is your favorite, or at least top 3, top 5 Hell in a Cell matches?
All right. So, wow. I don't want to like wuss out here and not do like
Mind you,
no order deal. What'd you say?
there have been 52.
Right. Right.
There have been 52.
See,
And
this thing. I don't. What's the power? I want to do a power ranking here, so it's like definitive, and because wow, man. All right, Triple H and Taker. Shawn as a referee was at 28.
yes.
28 has to be up there. It's in my top 5. One of the best false finishes I've ever seen in my fucking life, bar none.
And really a really great match. I think
Yeah.
this kind of a lot of people would probably attribute this match to the beginning or the debut of the Shawn Michaels story style, Shawn Michaels wrestling style of storytelling taking place over the physicality at some points. And because a lot of his matches is them laying around, is them laying on the ground.
100%. Yeah, 100%. It definitely is. It's more storytelling than all action all the time. Absolutely. But I loved it. I loved it.
30,
Um,
30 fucking minutes too.
30, yes, it was a marathon. A match I have to say because it got me back into wrestling, even though I would say that the spark started with 38. Because I mean, what a WrestleMania to get back in the game on. But the match that actually had me start watching, WWE television weekly, and I mean even AEW television weekly, was Hell in a Cell 2022, Cody versus Seth.
Oh yeah.
I have to put that in the top 5. It is a career defining match for Cody. Some would even say for Seth, but I think really for Cody. And it was a great match overall. The drama was there. And to hear one of the loudest buildings, I mean, I put this building's like the loudness of it over Madison Square Garden at times.
Mm-hmm.
The Allstate Arena, there was a hush that fell over that damn arena when he took the robe off. When he took
Again,
that, like it was a hush, dog.
they played this match on Sunday night
Mm-hmm.
here, and I watched the match the whole way through. I'll spoil it too. This is probably it's gonna be my top 3 as well. Um, when he takes off that jacket, I'm pretty sure a lot of this was gimmicked and it had makeup on it or whatever. Great makeup job, whatever it was.
Right.
But if for a person that had an injured, a torn bicep, whatever, to go 25 minutes in a Hell in a Cell and it grip the audience, to me, this was the moment that Cody became a made man. This was the moment that he kind of transcended what we thought. Because I mean, and I said this before, I ate crow at that WrestleMania Plus. I ate crow.
We did, yeah.
You were there. You were
Right.
there. We said, seriously, this
Right.
nigga,
Right.
y'all hype for this nigga? And I say this all the time. That stadium shook.
Oh
The
yeah.
stadium shook. I've never felt energy like that anywhere else, but but here in that moment. And I looked at that and I was like, okay, that was a great match. I mean, bordering 5. Then they
Oh,
had the next match, and then this match, I was like, okay, give this motherfucker the title because he gave up so much. Like that was the definition of dying for this shit.
oh
he
yeah.
was he was dying for this shit. That was one of the greatest matches. And again, like you said, kudos to Seth Rollins. He had to eat shit 3 times here. And I think this was at the point where and I say this too, like the Cody push the initial push, some of Vince's best booking, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it was on his watch, so people had to give it up.
Like it's some of his best booking that he did. I mean, he was gone literally like a month, 3 weeks after this.
Yeah.
But some of his best booking was what he was doing with Cody before he left, and or before he got injured. And then he came when Cody came back. It was a new regime plus.
Right, right. And I feel so much like a person with rose-tinted glasses on that I couldn't see what was going to happen. Because even he said it on TV weeks before. He's like, "Since I made my return to WWE, I am undefeated." I said, "God damn it! How did I didn't see it? How did I didn't see it? I just wanted it to happen that bad. I didn't see the fall coming." But I mean, of course, the year he had after losing at WrestleMania 39 was even more of a vote of confidence, saying that I am the quarterback. I am ready for this spot. And even to this point of this year, he's the clear cut wrestler of the year, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. And he was on that same level this year as well. So what is the next Hell in a Cell
Okay. So
that
am I up to 3 yet? Is that 3 or is that 2?
you're at 2? You're at
I'm
2.
at 2. So I'm gonna go 3 stages of hell, Triple H and Foley.
Okay, okay,
I'm putting
okay.
that out there. I'm putting that out there. I mean, of course, the other 2 stages were great, but that being like the unofficial official at the time it was official swan song for Foley, as we learned 2 weeks later, it wasn't. Um, it was a hell of a match.
Yeah, and it was so violent, bro. And
Yes,
was that the No Way Out one?
that wasn't the way out one. Yeah.
Yeah, that one was fucking sick. I gotta say, I'm still partial to bad 2D's blood in your house. Shawn Michaels versus the Undertaker, and that was the one that determined who was the number 1 contender at Survivor Series. It kicked the bullshit off.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean, listen, I have to say like bad blood. I mean, I have to include that. I'm more inclined to include the original Hell in a Cell match more than the most famous Hell in a Cell match in my top 5. And I'm like kind of like wrestling with that as we speak. I have to go with number one over.
What are your thoughts on the Undertaker Mankind King of the Ring Hell in a Cell match?
At the time, it was like the most famous car crash. Like people came to school the next day, like, did you see that? And of course, my broadcast, I heard it. I had scramble vision, so I heard the pay per view. But it was. I have to remember, and you were there, we were there. It was instantly legendary. Instantly. Like there was no debate what just happened the night before and weeks after, as the afterglow continued. It was a singular match. It was a moment like people will never forget. And obviously, people walk up to Mick Foley, I guess, daily as he describes it to remind them of it. It was the spectacle of spectacles at that point that WWE kind of like leaned into after that. There were spots on top of spots in matches, I think, after that match that tried to up the ante, but once again, that's a very singular match in time.
Yeah, very singular, but I also think it's kind of like, I won't say icky, but
Oh my god, yeah.
it's crazy to watch now.
Oh, it's cringy. It's very cringy.
Super cringe to watch now. And be clear, it's not much of a match.
No, it's just definitely a spot fest. Like we can talk about matches that we watched in recent times and be like, man, that shit is a spot fest. It's all over the place. Well, guess what? That's what that match was at King of the Ring.
Yeah, 100%. I have to put that one up there, the Shawn Michaels one. Secretly, people won't think about this one, or they haven't thought about this one. Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker, No Mercy, 2002.
If it's forgotten because of the later matches, but yes, you're right. Right.
One of my favorite. I think that this was even better than the Hell in a Cell they would have like 10 years later. Um, 2015, I think the one there. Strangely enough, I don't think WWE's played that one on the marathon unless I missed it.
And that's when we got into the era of Hell in a Cell, the pay per view, and it just became like, you know what I mean? Like you gotta have a Hell in a Cell, and I'm glad that H is getting away from that because you just don't want to like, oh, Hell in a Cell's on the calendar. What we gonna do, y'all? You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want that.
Where you're whoring it out, like nah.
Yes.
I have to say, probably in my top three as well, and this has leapfrogged a lot of them. Hell in a Cell 2020, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, and this was on a fantastic show. This also had Sasha versus Bayley Hell in a Cell as well. Had Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre Hell in a Cell also. These were 3 Hell in a Cell matches. We was in a pandemic at that point because it was like 3 Hell in a Cell matches in one show. But they were all different, which is crazy to even say too. Like these were all different matches. So Roman Reigns, Jey Uso. This was, I remember, watching this match and being like, something is different. Something is different with Roman. This is like, not that he's off, but this is crazy. This is the beginning of the Tribal Chief storyline. The acting here, we got into Bloodline Cinema here. This is the first Bloodline Cinema match. This was an I Quit Hell in a Cell match where they fucking beat the shit out of each other. And then Roman turns in the performance of a lifetime. He became this character because at that point, remember, plus we didn't really know what was going on or what he was about to do.
See, I was out and I had to go back and watch this match, and this is I probably watched this match either before Royal Rumble 23. I think before Royal Rumble 23, and I haven't watched the entire pay per view. I only watched that match, and yes, that's when I learned. Like I had to go back and do the homework on Roman Reigns and the transformation of him from the big dog, the Roman Empire, to the Tribal Chief, and that right there, I could see. Oh, I get it. I get it. I get what
Also, you remember it like
in retrospect. Yeah.
like post Punk leaving that Roman.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, by the time, of course, I saw some things just to get myself kind of prepped and primed for WrestleMania 38. I saw some things around that. Like I believe like this is my cameraman. Like I saw that promo before I got to WrestleMania 38, but not seeing like the real origins of the Tribal Chief character until around that time. And I think it was even before I saw like a WWE playlist video where they really line out everything for you in real, in order. But no, when I saw that match, I was like, oh shit, I get it. I get it. And that was like, it was a masterclass because once again, what all his peers say is true. Some people were attacking this like they still had fans. He was talking like so the camera could pick up what he's saying. The mic on the camera could pick up what he's saying, and the dialogue is in a very like cinematic way, simply put.
Yep. And again, you look at how not only is the dialogue delivered, but the character work, the facials. I gotta, I watched this match last night, and I gotta give it up to Jay as well. Because this was kind of the beginning of Jay as a character. And shout out, no shots to Jimmy, but he hasn't elevated his character, and I think that became noticeable when they split up. That
Yep.
Jay had kind of taken that next step, and you see that even more now when he's on his own fully. And he and Roman were perfect foils for each other. That's why it's interesting to see how that's going to play out as their baby faces, both or both of them are baby faces now. But it was a great match, greatly plotted, greatly scripted. I love this match, and I still love it even after watching it again. I'm looking at this. Come on, man. DX versus Legacy.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of matches on this list, and I'm just like, yeah. I mean, even Punk Ryback at the time, I was just like, how's this gonna be good?
I mean,
I love Punk.
Punk had a 10-minute Hell in a Cell with Undertaker, bro. He just completely got washed. He's completely got washed. But remember the month before that, I think they banned the Heaven's Gate and he couldn't use it.
Yeah, right.
The Hell's Gate. Sorry, that I said
Hell's
that.
Gate, yeah, Hell's Gate, yeah. Whoops.
Oh,
Freudian slip.
so, and again, like just very strange ones on this list of Hell in a Cell. Let's see if we remember some of these. Undertaker Edge in SummerSlam 2008. I really love this match. They played that too. This was a brutal match that the WWE YouTube blurs out and blanks out a lot of the violence, which I thought. But they do that often because in the first Hell in a Cell with Sean's bleeding, they make it all black and white, and I'm like, oh, they're basically telling you go get the network to see this.
Yeah, right. What about Batista Triple H? I think in that trilogy of matches, I think that by far was the best match in 05.
Oh yes, that really was. And then they try and bring it back with the brutality and their Mania match. What was that 10 years, 15 years later? But
Yeah.
just didn't hit. But that one was definitely the best one. And again, Triple H wearing white, bleeding like a stuck pig, as JR would say.
Absolutely. Yep.
Another one of these. See, you said the Ryback ones. Orton and Cena had quite the fucking Hell in a Cell. Orton's had a lot of Hell in a Cells.
I had to look back, and I didn't realize how many he had. I was like, damn, he did have a lot of Hell in a Cell matches.
Another underrated one, New Day and Usos, Hell in a Cell for 2017 from Detroit.
I don't really remember Ambrose and Rollins Hell in a Cell like that. Was that good?
It's because no, it's not, and it had a Wyatt jump scare at the end. So what happens is that they have this long ass elongated match, and this is like right after the turn, right? So they have this long ass match, and then in the end, Bray Wyatt comes out, and that starts the Dean Ambrose Bray Wyatt feud that doesn't last like super long.
Yeah, and I think the most infamous one is probably The Fiend versus Seth.
I mean, listen, I say this all the time. The Seth Rollins Fiend match, it started 3 years, 3.5, 4 years of WWE just in hell.
Okay.
Like, it did not, but because the thing is, remember, AEW debuts a week after this.
Oh shit! So they probably pushed people over there at that time.
Yes, it's either the week. I think this might have been the week of. So this happened, and then the Saudi deal people were upset about.
Oof, yeah, blood money, quote unquote blood money.
Because remember the SmackDown. This is the week. This is the couple days after the first SmackDown on Fox. Kofi loses that Friday.
Yeah.
The Cain Velasquez match is announced. That next week. But this
how long did he last? By the way, Bob, how long?
One match. One match, and he blew his knee out right before it, and then they had Brock squash him, and he never saw him again.
Nasty.
So this started really an exodus from the WWE. This was the end for a lot of people, and they're just now getting a lot of these people back. But if you remember the stuff, I want to ask Meals to watch this, but I feel like this will probably piss us off more than it'll make us remember it. But October 6th, 2019 is a moment in time where you can actually say this was the first time WWE probably lost fans, and they legitimately lost fans. Because that whole week was nothing but bad press for them. It was this pay-per-view, which ended up being pretty bad. I mean, even if Becky Lynch and Sasha had a great match, in Hell in a Cell, this ruined it. This ended the show, Meals.
So 2019 WWE is look back on like the opposite fondly. Like I wasn't really watching the product at the time. When I look back at some of those clips, I'm like, damn, it's a nice set. Sure is a nice set. It's like people like it looked nice, but it was the opposite of looking. It was the opposite of nice.
They had just got the bag. So this was the first 500 mil bag. This was like their biggest bag that they got because this was the big payback deal. So the Fox deal came through, that was $1 billion. The
Yeah.
USA deal came in, and that was it made it equal up to $1 billion. So they had just got this money, and they were giving some of the worst TV that they ever had, and we were months away from a pandemic.
Right.
So
Right.
just think about that.
And
And
then the dog food stuff is happening. What, end of 19 with Roman and Baron?
yes, end of 19,
Ooh,
and you're getting the dog food stuff, but we're also hearing and seeing that Roman's going to get Goldberg, which is not something people wanted to see either.
that's right. Oof.
So we're seeing all of this stuff happen. Drew is probably the one shining spot because at this point, this match killed Seth as a babyface because he had to turn heel after this. Because after this, he turns heel, and then this match, I mean, he gives Fiend what 10 stomps,
Right.
hits him with the toolbox, ended in a ref stoppage. The this is when they were doing the red lights for the Fiend, so no one could actually see the match because the cage was red too.
That's right.
It's one of the worst matches I've ever seen in my life. It started 4 years almost of nothing but pain for WWE. AEW was able to legitimately gain the ground that they had because of this. This is when Vince went off his rocker. This is when we knew we had to get him out of there.
I was just about to say, I don't know if I want to peer inside the mind of McMahon at this time. You know what I mean? I think the documentary is going to go back way more than that. But 2019 and his thoughts, I think that's when a lot of that nefarious stuff, it's probably been happening for years. But probably a lot of it was taking place around that time too.
The truth is far more sinister.
Right,
So
right,
the
right.
truth is far more sinister. You have more Hell in a Cells here. You have the one with Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan when Shawn Michaels super kicked Daniel Bryan. Niggas was pissed, bro. We were in the dark ages, yo. We had Alberto Del Rio versus CM Punk and John Cena. But listen, there's so many Hell in a Cell. They did this fucking yearly, bro, and multiple times, yo.
For no apparent reason. I just remember those pay-per-views like I said, gotta have a Hell in a Cell match, whether the feud calls for it or not, because we got a pay-per-view. And it's like, that is just ass backwards.
As backwards, and I mean, who really remembers Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt or Roman Reigns versus Rusev in the Hell in a Cell? This is when Roman was punished. Roman Reigns, when he got suspended for the wellness shit, and he had to win the U.S. title.
That's right. As a demotion in the kind of crowd, a demotion during the John Cena promo. One of my favorite moments during that promo. The guy yells out, "A demotion!"
Because the thing is that was one of those reports where I think Meltzer came out and said that Roman backstage thought of it as a demotion, and Cena brought that report into the actual storyline, and I was like, oh, that must have been true then.
Nah, for real. Like post-Punk John Cena promos are really a thing of beauty, dog. Because it's like when it comes down to nut cutting time and you gotta really sell this go home promo, oh, he gets in that one bag, and if you can't talk, good night. Like good night.
Nice promo there, Roman. Or
Yeah, fine, Mr. Fine Speech.
fine
You
speech,
don't want to see. That's somebody you don't want to see if you're not equipped with the tools to come back.
fine speech you got there, Joe.
Oh, man.
What else do we have here? Oh, I saw this one as well this weekend. Kevin Owens, Shane McMahon, Hell in a Cell, the Sami Zayn heel turn moment. You weren't watching here.
I was not.
But Shane McMahon is the GM of SmackDown. Kevin Owens had gone through had basically been going through hell, basically, and Sami Zayn kept getting ignored and stuff like that. And then they have this very, to me, rewatching it, not great match. I wonder if when any of our listeners feels any differently. They had a not great match in the Hell in a Cell, which ended in a better ending than I thought was the actual match, and that is with Shane coming off the top of the cage to elbow drop Kevin Owens. Sammy moves him out the way, and I thought that the actual act of Sammy pulling KO out the way at the last second, like he did, actually looks incredible. It's an incredible visual, and then it leads to the Sami Zayn heel turn. That he would be heel until what 2022. He'd be heel for a very long time.
Yeah, that's all the way through Bloodline and everything, right?
Yep, he was heel for an extremely long amount of time. Obviously, there was injuries and the pandemic kind of kept him off TV for some of those months and some of those years. But he was heel for a very, very long time after that.
I don't know how it actually went. Of course, the makings of the decision to turn him heel, but I imagine Vince kind of hit him with the you kind of strike me as a permanent baby face. I don't think you can work heel, and Sammy's probably like, you don't think I could work heel? Like, let me.
I believe it was because he was legitimately annoying.
Yeah.
So they like legit. they thought he was annoying, and they were like, we'll turn you heel because you're really more annoying than you are a good baby face." And I think it's only until now, plus that like they've really kind of captured what makes him work as a babyface, I think,
Yeah,
in a lot of
yeah.
ways, because I just don't think Vince got him as a character. And he doesn't have to be Daniel Bryan, but he definitely has his own kind of people champion type vibe. And I think that they finally tapped into that. And I think that like him as a heel was great. And I
Oh,
think his first him and KO as dual heels was actually a really good thing, but it led to the first match back for Daniel Bryan in Mania.
yeah. Mhm.
So that's what kind of started the storyline.
And it sound like he sometimes as a baby face for him, like fighting underneath is like equal parts Daniel Bryan and equal parts like Foley without like, a lot of the car crash aspect to it. But
Yes.
just that, I feel sorry for this guy getting his ass kicked, man.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
For sure, like, because the way he sells, I mean, he's
Yes.
always been good at that shit.
Yes.
One more before we get out of here. Triple H versus Chris Jericho,
Oh wow.
Judgment Day, 2002 at the Gaylord Entertainment Center
Wow.
in Nashville, Tennessee. Is that even around anymore?
I think they call it the Bridgestone Arena now.
Okay.
That's wow. You forget about that because it's like it's right around that time, of course. Jericho lost the belts at WrestleMania, and this is of
Yep.
course I guess the rematch and when Triple H goes over again, right? I mean, it's
I
just
goes over again, and I think Edge was involved in this storyline as well. This is during like Triple H's return. We look like a fucking blimp,
oh, he
and
was blowing up to holy hell, like what,
blown
285 or something, 290?
blown up crazy. And then you have his reign, and it kind of goes into the him being defeated by, I believe, the Undertaker the next
Yes.
month.
Yeah.
At,
Or the Hogan. Was it Hogan or Taker?
it was Taker. It was
Okay,
Taker.
Taker. Yep, yep.
Because Brock wins King of the Ring here, and I'm pretty sure that Triple H didn't want to get a job out to Brock, so he said, "You know what? I'll bid you adieu.
Yep.
You can have this, and I'm going to go to Raw," because he was then gifted Raw right after that, I believe.
That's right. He completely gifted Raw, and then somehow, of course, Rock gets the belt, and then he does the job to Brock. I mean, one thing about Rock in his initial run, I'll give him, and this is on TV and pay per views, he gave him his unfair share of jobs. Like I used to be as a kid, even though I was an Austin guy more than I was a Rock guy, I was like, damn, that Rock do more jobs than Austin.
Bro, we're paying for it now.
You're absolutely right. We are. You damn
We're
right. We are.
we're paying for all of that niceness and shit now. But let us know which some of your favorite Hell in the Cells are as we go up to the anniversary at Bad Blood. And of course, big match between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. I want to talk about Hell in the Cell every week leading up to it. Such an iconic match. Even if it has been watered down, there's been some iconic moments. Maybe next week we'll do some trivia. I'll ask Neil some questions.
Dope. That's gonna be dope. I'm looking forward to that for sure.
But plus, we're gonna move over to Patreon now. I want to thank everybody who listened to the free show. Of course, if you want to check out our show reviews of Raw and SmackDown, you're going to want to hear this because they're two really good shows this week. Two really interesting shows as well. Make sure you subscribe to the Patreon. $5 down gets you all of the great goodness, and of course, all of our regular shows as well. So thank you, Plus, for being on the show this week.
Thank you for the invite, my brother. I appreciate you.
And until next week, we'll talk to you guys later. I think we're not going to be doing predictions yet because damn, when is Bad Blood? 2 weeks from now. It's 2 weeks from now. So yeah, we still got one more week of build. We'll figure out what's going on. But next week we got a really stacked show. Of course, we're going to be talking about everything that happens on a very stacked Raw. Before then, we're going to talk about what happened this week. So till then, see you guys next week on the A Show.